Hey, what up? This is Woody Woods. This is a story from The Guardian, opinion piece. Why did the U.S. Justice Department let Purdue off the hook for the opioid crisis? Now, this is a big deal because, as you may or may not know, more Americans have died from this opioid crisis than every single war combined that America has fought in ever. More military-age men die a day. 200 a day. Military-age people, not men and women, die a day. That's below the age of 35. I personally know 4, maybe 5 people that died during this, since COVID happened, from an opioid overdose. None from COVID, personally. That's my personal experience. This COVID thing has made it a lot harder and worse. And I'll tell you this, every single person I know that is addicted to opioids, and heroin in particular, started off by getting prescribed opioids, or their friends were prescribed opioids, overprescribed, and they were sold. Back in the early 2000s, this shit was out of control. Doctors were given this stuff. The pill mills. I know of pill mills, specific doctors, and you don't hear any of the politicians talk about this at all. This has killed more young people, healthy people. These people are sick, and they need it. They think they need it. Like, I don't know if you haven't felt that. You can't understand it, I guess, but if they just got it out of them, I feel that at least 40% would stop. I know that sounds like maybe a low number or whatever, but that's worth it, 40%, if you could save them, I think. That said, why did that's just my opinion, why did the Justice Department let Purdue off the hook? And these motherfuckers are the reason why all these people got hooked. I remember the ads back then. I used to spit the talking points. I used to say, I need it for my pain. It's better to... I get so mad. Let me just read this story. All right. Let me say this. I get mad because if I got a few people hooked on heroin and someone died, I'd go to jail. These motherfuckers got America hooked on heroin. And they're billionaires. They have museums named after them. And it's not right. It's not right. And, I mean, whatever. Let's read the story. The opioid epidemic is not over, even as COVID-19 rages. Opioid-related deaths continue to devastate communities across our states. In New Hampshire, overdose deaths rose in April and May over last year's levels. In the first 4 months of 2020, Rhode Island overdose deaths jumped 29% from the same period last year and 38% from the same period in 2008. Opioid addiction remains a persistent, lethal menace. Yes. We just learned a big reason why the opioid crisis was allowed to get so bad. The Guardian recently unearthed new details in the origin story of the opioid crisis. In 2016, career prosecutors at the U.S. Department of Justice drafted a memo summarizing alleged criminal behavior by the major opioid maker Purdue Pharma. The memo, the culmination of a 4-year investigation of Purdue's opioid marketing and other business practices, was based on a review of millions of internal documents. The memo concluded that Purdue and its executive participated in mail fraud, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy in pushing opioids, and recommended indictment. But of course, they weren't indicted because they're paying everybody this. Why do we allow this? Like, why do we allow this? It's time we gotta, these people need to at least their name off museums and stuff. Like, what? What? I don't know. Again, I apologize for that. Let's continue. But we still don't know the whole story. Why don't we know the whole story? Tell us the whole story, government. Release all their internal emails, unedited. Totally unedited. Let's see what they said about all of Americans that they got us hooked. We still don't know the whole story, and we need to, in order to avoid a repeat of the deceptive marketing practices and corporate greed that cost the United States hundreds of thousands of lives and young lives. And not to mention the people that are lost their souls, that are still technically breathing, but they're dead inside. That they destroyed countless families. It's fucking, it's so sickening. So fucking sickening. Action in 2006 could have made an enormous difference. Bringing felony charges could have brought real accountability to executives who ran the machine. We should elect someone that's really willing to lock up the politicians. Anybody whose name is on any of this shit. More importantly, it might have forced the company to end its deceptive marketing practices, which contributed to millions of people becoming addicted to opioids. It could have saved the lives of untold number of Americans. Here's a suggestion. Why doesn't Purdue Pharma have to forfeit everything? Everything. Personal gains, personal wealth, and their business. Hand it over to the American people, and then it's ours now, because you fucked us, and now, we take over back. Whatever. I don't know. Just a suggestion. I don't know. The Justice Department could have made a strong effort to stop a public health crisis in its tracks more than a decade ago. Instead, that memo got buried. The Justice Department did not charge Purdue or its executives with serious felonies it identified. It let them go with a slap on the wrist, as usual. And for the ensuing decade and a half, Purdue continued to push its highly addictive and widely overprescribed opioid painkiller, Oxycontin. Based on what we know today, it appears the Justice Department could have made a stronger effort to stop a public health crisis in its tracks more than a decade ago. Yeah, just like this COVID shit, all this stuff, they don't give a shit about us. So the fact that they're pretending to, it's so suspect. It's so fucking suspect, because you did shit about this. I don't believe shit you're telling me about this. Like, you've lost our trust. The media, the politicians, we don't trust anything you say. And now everything you've told me throughout the past is suspect now to me. You understand? Like, you created this. You fuck. Oh. Where was I? But it didn't. What we do know points out to a troubling idea that money and connections influence who gets prosecuted and who gets to break the law to enrich themselves. Who are those people's names? Tell me. Name them. Who are they? Why can't they put every person's name involved in this, So you know who they are and that how they got their money, At least have them lose their respect. They could be rich and not respected. We live in a country founded on the principles of equal administration of justice. Do we, though? Do we? Because, what is someone who claims to be, I don't know, a painter. I could say I'm a painter, or I say I'm a comedian, but if I don't paint or I don't tell jokes, am I? Am I really? You know what I mean? Like you are what you do. You're not what you say. You are what you do, and that's not what we do. So that's not what we are. So like, I don't know, man. Corporate executives should face the same consequences as anyone else who commits the crime. They should, but they don't because they really are the ones in charge. The Justice Department, the most highly regarded and powerful law enforcement agency in America, ought to be immune to attempts by big, powerful interests to win special treatment. In this case, Purdue executives hire high-powered attorneys to influence the department's prosecution decision, including a former prosecutor, Rudy Giuliani. Way to go, Rudy. Thanks, bro. Rudy and Purdue's team negotiated for lesser penalties for misbranding the product. How much did they pay you? How much was your soul worth, Rudy? How much was it worth? Tell me. I want to know the price on your soul, bro. We don't know whether the department broke rules or procedures. Why don't you know? But we should. You should. You're right. You should. I should have read that part. We've asked the department for its documents, and we have been stonewalled. We shouldn't have to rely on the Guardian to get access to the facts. You're right. Amen. And I'm not one to like, the Guardian or whatever. I don't know. I don't really read it, so I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Likewise, Americans ought to know how Purdue got off with a slap on the wrist. And that Rudy Giuliani, this is going to be a political one. I wanted to know, whatever, I'll still read it, that Rudy Giuliani and other former Department of Justice played a role. Giuliani is the president of Personal Lawyer. Oh, I forgot his opinion piece, but whatever. It's my opinion, too. If he continues to influence the department's criminal investigation to advance his client's interests, the public ought to know. We cannot repeat this sad chapter in the Justice Department history. There will be other Purdue Pharmas. There are other Purdue Pharmas. There is still Purdue Pharma, motherfucker. There will be other Rudy Giulianis. Sorry, I did the vape. Getting a little mad. Now the Attorney General of the United States and his administration need to answer the question from Congress and the American people. Yeah, they do. But so does every other administration. All the way back to 2000. Actually, even before that. It's like 98, I think. Probably. So yeah. You're all complicit. Everyone ought to know if those with power and connections are influencing prosecutor decisions when tens of thousands of Americans' lives are on the line. Of course, they are influencing prosecutorial decisions. Like, the Guardian is asking for donations. Well, I read their story, so I'll leave that there. But, yeah. Maggie Hassan is a U.S. Senator from New Hampshire. Son is the White House is a U.S. Senator from Rhode Island. I don't know what that even is. But, all right, guys. That's about it. I mean, I said my piece on it. You see, I'm angry. It's a subject close to my heart. I've lost a lot of people to it, and I know more could be done. A lot more could be done, and I actually have ideas for things that could be done. We'll throw one out. I don't know, like. This subject just gets to me, and if anyone out there struggling with opioids or anything like that, heroin, please listen, you can get help. It's possible. If I could do it, you could definitely do it, because trust me, I still don't feel like it's real. And hit me up in the comments below if you need to talk, or you could Instagram me or whatever, and I'll do my best. I could help. I could give you resources and stuff like that. Thanks for listening, guys, and yeah, have a great day. Bye.